Part 1. The Unsolved Enigma. The Grand Archive was a marvel of Xylarian architecture. Its domed ceiling spiraled upwards like a crystallized galaxy, and the air shimmered with holographic displays of data that danced and swirled with dizzying complexity. Yet, at the heart of the archive, amidst the whispers of neural interfaces and the hum of supercomputers, lay a mystery that mocked their technological prowess. It was a simple piece of stone, barely more significant than a child's outstretched hand. The symbols etched onto its surface were alien, yet achingly familiar. They danced at the edge of comprehension, hinting at a language lost to the relentless march of time. Xylarian scholars, renowned throughout the galaxy for their intellect, had labored for decades over the artifact. Their most advanced translation algorithms had failed. Their brightest linguists were utterly stumped. Zarik, a junior Xylarian archivist with an insatiable curiosity and a rebellious streak, was tired of watching the experts flounder. While they obsessed over linguistic algorithms and mathematical patterns, he was convinced the answer lay elsewhere. Tonight, while the senior staff were deep in their usual symposium-fueled debates, he had the archive to himself. The sterile glow of the archive's worklights did little to dispel the sense of age that clung to the artifact. Zarik gently ran his fingertips over the etched symbols, feeling their worn smoothness. It was an act of defiance, rejecting the sterile digital analysis his colleagues favored. He let go of the need for immediate answers for the first time in weeks. He hummed quietly to himself, a tune not formed from conscious thought, just a melody his mind conjured in response to the patterns in front of him. As the notes filled the silence, something shifted. The symbols seemed less like a code to be broken and more like a conversation waiting to be heard. Zarik knew the idea sounded absurd. Linguistic evolution among intelligent species followed broadly predictable paths throughout the known galaxy. Intricate, computer-based languages had become the norm for advanced civilizations like his own. Yet, as he stared at those ancient carvings, a simple thought surfaced. What if these beings communicated differently? Rising from his seat, Zarik disregarded the blinking consoles and flickering data streams. He approached the archive's most rarely visited section, History of Pre-Digital Communication. The shelves groaned under the weight of old-fashioned data slates, physical books, and even primitive audio recording devices from various early civilizations. He spent the rest of the night immersed in that forgotten world. Touch, rhythm, inflection of sound. These concepts, largely abandoned when direct neural interfacing became possible, formed the backbone of communication for countless species before technology entirely took over. As the rising suns painted the archive's dome in soft hues, Zarik emerged from the pre-digital section, his mind buzzing with excitement and dread. The answer, he was now sure, was tantalizingly close. But to grasp it, he would have to break some rules. Tucked away in the archive's deepest, most restricted part was experimental technology abandoned decades ago. Sensory immersion interfaces. Designed to enhance empathy and understanding across species, their unpredictable effect on the user's mind led to their swift abandonment by the stability-obsessed Xylarians. Yet Zarik was convinced this was the key. He knew the risks. Stories abounded of researchers lost to the onslaught of undiluted sensory experience, their minds crumbling under the strain. Yet the artifact's pull, the whisper of forgotten knowledge, was too powerful to resist. With trembling hands, he keyed in the access sequence, a set of codes he should not know, and entered the sealed chamber. The interface was deceptively simple, a sleek helmet lined with synaptic receptors. Zarik hesitated. This was madness. One wrong turn, and he could vanish into the fractured memories and alien sensations trapped within the artifact. Yet, As he thought of the unsolved puzzle of those mockingly beautiful symbols waiting to be deciphered, a surge of reckless determination filled him. He slipped the helmet on. The world exploded. Not into chaos, but into a symphony of sensation. Color, texture, an echoing depth that seemed to resonate within his very bones. It was all there, layered over the glyphs of the artifact. He held it up, no longer simply seeing the inscription, but feeling it vibrate against his skin, hearing it hum in a language of pure, undiluted meaning. It was like a dam breaking. The symbols swirled and melded, forming images in Zarik's mind. Starships traversing vast distances, towering cities built not of steel and glass, but of living, symbiotic organisms. Concepts of mathematics and physics so elegantly simple, they made his own society's calculations seem clumsy in comparison. This was knowledge beyond anything the Zalarians had ever imagined. But the floodgates were open too wide. The onslaught of sensation, the sheer alienness of this lost civilization, threatened to overwhelm him. He felt his consciousness fraying at the edges, his sense of self dissolving into the torrent of information. Zarik tore the helmet off with a gasp, his vision blurring, static crackling in his ears. He stumbled back, clutching his head as if to hold the pieces of his mind together. Had he done it? Had he unlocked the artifact's secrets? Footsteps echoed in the hallway. The buzzing of the archive's security system pierced through the haze in his mind. The unauthorized interface use had been detected. He had only moments before they would find him, moments to make a decision. Panic and fascination warred within Zarik. Discovery pulsed in his veins, a heady mix of triumph and encroaching madness. He knew he couldn't simply explain away the interface usage. The consequences would be severe, censure, possibly even exile. Yet the artifact sang in his hands, whispering promises of a universe far vaster and more wondrous than his people had ever conceived. He acted on instinct. Fumbling at his workstation, he activated the recorder, pouring out the fragments of understanding he could still grasp. Words tumbled from him, descriptions of the lost civilization, their philosophy, and their awe-inspiring technology. With shaking hands, he etched translations of critical symbols, their meaning still burning brightly in his mind's eye. The sound of approaching security officers jolted him back to reality. There was no time left, nowhere to run. He placed the artifact gently on its stand, a silent offering, then lifted his chin and waited. The senior archivists, summoned by the security alert, found Zarik standing amidst a scene of barely concealed chaos. The experimental interface lay discarded on the floor, and data streams from his illicit recordings flickered across screens. Shock and fury contorted their usually composed features. "Explain yourself," the head archivist demanded, her voice like ice. Zarik held the artifact up, its symbols blazing against the sterile archive lights. I've translated it," he stammered, "at least partially. This knowledge could change everything we know about the galaxy, about our place within it." The head archivist's eyes narrowed. She saw the sheen of sweat on Zarik's brow, the frantic energy barely contained beneath his facade of defiance. This went beyond mere recklessness. Was it brilliance, or the first tremors of madness? Silence stretched like a brittle wire in the archive chamber. The head archivist's glare promised retribution. The protocols Zarik had broken were clear. When despair threatened to engulf Zarik, a voice cut through the tension. "Hold on." The words came from Dr. Ilara, a notoriously reclusive xenoanthropologist from a remote planet on the fringes of Xylarian territory. Her colleagues held her in a mixture of mild disdain and grudging respect. Her focus on the soft sciences was considered an oddity in their technology-obsessed society. "Archivist Zarik may have acted rashly," she said, her voice surprisingly firm. "But recklessness is often the price of true insight." Her gaze swept across the startled faces of the other archivists. Or have we forgotten that our progress was built on questioning the established order? A ripple of unease spread through the senior staff. Ilara was technically correct. Xylarian advancements had often stemmed from individuals daring to think differently. This situation, however, was tainted with unacceptable risk. The interface, the head archivist sputtered. It's unstable, unpredictable. He could have damaged his mind irreparably. Ilara moved with unexpected swiftness, crossing the room to stand beside Zarik. She touched the scattered data slates, the fragmented translations. "There is brilliance here," she stated. "He has found a thread. Let us follow it and see where it leads." Under Ilara's unwavering stare, the head archivist hesitated. Punishment was the logical, correct path, but the lure of the unknown was potent. The Xylarians were a people of intellect, after all. Curiosity, long suppressed beneath protocol, flickered within her. "Very well," she conceded, her voice tight. "You will assist Dr. Ilara in deciphering these findings, but proceed with the utmost caution. One more misstep and the consequences will be severe." Zarik exhaled, relief washing over him in a wave. He had gambled everything and somehow won. Looking at Ilara, he saw no judgment but a spark of shared excitement. This was not the end. It was the beginning of a journey that would redefine his world. Hey, space travelers. Thanks for blasting off with Rocket Ship Radio. We hope you enjoyed the journey. If you're ready to dive deeper into the rabbit hole of our amazing sci-fi stories, click the next video and prepare yourself for another adventure. If you want to help us out, please hit the like button, subscribe, and activate that notification bell so you never miss an interstellar transmission. Don't forget to leave a comment below. Tell us what kind of sci-fi tales you want to explore in the future. And as always, safe travels, adventurer.